Hello, Rajiv.
Hi, Sheba.
How good to see you here, and welcome to Soul Brews with Sheba. Such a delight to host you on Coffee and Soul.
No, thank you. It's. I think it's what 30, 35 years after which we're connecting.
I know, I know.
And
What a long time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah,
Lovely
no,
to see you.
it's
Yeah,
very good. No,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So I'm going to resort back to calling you RSA because I cannot, for the life of me, call you Rajiv. So it's going to be RSA or R, and I hope that's okay with you.
That's absolutely fine.
Okay, fine. All right. So lovely to see you, and so delighted to host you on this forum. Do you have a cup of coffee ready with you?
Yes. In fact, I copied your brew.
All right, here you go. So let's. I'm going to wait for you to pour yourself here.
Bear with me. I've
That
got to
looks.
press it. There
Uh,
you go.
yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely.
Okay,
Okay.
brilliant. I'm ready now.
All right, great. Cheers, RSA. To
Cheers.
friendship,
Yes. This is.
long, long friendships
I
and
know.
wonderful
It's
conversation.
longer than most of my kids have lived. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that right? My God. Cheers, RSA.
Cheers. That's right.
So, can I ask you to hold this cup of coffee if it's not too hot? Just
No, no,
nestle
no.
it
It's
between
absolutely
your.
fine.
Just sit back and relax, RSA, and keep your eyes closed and allow yourself to feel the warmth of the coffee cup and also the fragrance if it comes to you yet. See what does it elicit for you. Is there any image or sound or feeling? And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and share.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think I get images of a park, and I think it's Hyde Park that I get images of,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
and it's so I don't know if you've been to Hyde Park recently,
Not
but there are parts of
recently.
it which are very manicured and stuff, and there are parts which are reasonably left unkempt
Hmm, hmm,
through, and the image I have is one when it's kind of left as is, untouched. So
hmm,
long grass,
hmm,
tall trees.
hmm.
That's the image I get. Uh,
And what does that do for you, Arse?
I think to me that's a reminder of letting things be as they are,
Hmm,
and that you know it just allows for life to flourish.
hmm,
So what happens when Hyde Park or parts of Hyde Park which are sort of left like this is there's tall grass, there's
hmm,
dandelions, there's lots of insects that have sort of emerged because of that.
hmm,
And it's a reminder that life is prolific, and
hmm,
it comes out of everything. So even when I walk through the park,
hmm,
there are sort of tree trunks that are being felled and
hmm,
probably dry or appeared dry to us.
hmm,
And then
hmm,
suddenly there are still shoots,
hmm,
little stems sort of growing out and early sort of leaves there.
hmm,
It tells you there's life in almost everything. It
hmm,
just is, it's a stark reminder.
hmm,
So for me, I think that's what the image is. The image is all about let it be.
hmm,
Don't try to always control and touch and
hmm,
make things. Let it be. Life
hmm,
has a way. Life has a
hmm, hmm. Yeah, and the
uh,
way that you say it and the way it sounds, it's almost therapeutic, isn't it? To be able to go and dip into a space where you can access these feelings.
it
Uh,
is, yeah, it is. We're very fortunate in that sense. And the funny thing is, to an extent, COVID has actually helped us
mm,
access,
mm,
because
mm,
what's happened is through COVID, in order to keep ourselves sort of a little bit active,
mm,
it's become a daily routine to walk.
mm, mm, mm,
And when you walk the day, when you walk every day, you see it every day. You see it.
mm,
So we've seen it from last year when we started, probably around, yeah, it was around May last
mm,
year.
mm,
We started going regularly for walks. And it was basically late spring,
mm,
early summer. And
mm,
so it was prolific. And then
mm,
we saw the entire thing become completely desolate with
mm,
just branches, no leaves.
mm, mm,
Everything is shared, very stark.
mm,
Yet there was life because you could sort of see green
mm,
moss, you could see squirrels, you could see, you could see life in different forms. And
mm.
now, I don't know, for some reason we've even got parrots. So I think somebody's released some parrots and they're thriving in Hyde Park. So
Really,
it's
huh?
just, and then you then come kind of see the flowers on the trees, which I had never noticed. I mean, so it has been quite a journey. It's been quite a
Mm,
journey, and it's
mm,
it's this realization. I think
mm,
more than anything else is
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, and then that sounds as you said, it sounds like quite a journey, which brings me to the next thing that I want to focus on, which is your journey. And I've known you a long time now, but you always discover new things about people, and that's the beauty of conversations such as these, as you reminisce. And so, tell me more about your journey, your highs and lows, some defining moments for you that kind of
uh,
change perspective. Or
I think when I look at my life journey, one thing is bloody clear that I have been blessed.
mm,
Um, and when I say blessed, I don't mean that I'm the richest, I'm the best, I have, champagne. It's not that. It's
mm,
when I say best is I have managed to do everything I want to do.
mm,
I have managed to succeed and fail,
mm,
and I've still managed to have a great lifestyle. I think
mm,
throughout,
mm,
and it's not of my own volition. It's not of it would be great for me to be able to say, oh, but I did X, Y, Z in
mm,
order for me to deserve A, B, C or something
mm,
like that. And you know, it's absolutely bullshit if I was to ever say that.
mm,
Uh, it's almost it's almost like things have just taken and happened. And and what's happened in my life journey is my biggest moments have come from most unexpected sources,
mm,
right?
mm.
And at the time you just don't realize it,
Yeah.
but they are just, it's almost like there was a cradle, there was a hand that came, picked me
Mm,
up and said, ah, actually, you know what,
mm,
I'd rather you were here.
mm, mm,
And then you just find, oh yeah, that's not bad, like let's move on, let's
mm,
okay.
mm,
So I've been very fortunate. I've had, um, if I just follow my career, I've had, I think I've done everything as I wanted to do.
mm,
Some I've succeeded, some I haven't succeeded, but overall, you know, it's fine. It's been a great journey, and I've never felt like, God, okay, you know what, this would have been better. It's almost like, yeah, things can always be much better, or you can have more of this, but it's great where it is.
mm,
It's great.
mm,
So
mm.
I think I have been blessed.
Sure, and I get that, and I think that's so. That's very beautiful, and also I think what is great is that the recognition of that, because a lot of times we go through life without recognizing how blessed we are, and from what the vantage point that you're speaking from seems to say that upon reflection, you see that everything has had a purpose, and you've kind of been picked up from one place to the other as was needed by you. Am I correct in that understanding, Arse?
Yeah, it's almost like, Shiva. It's slightly it's slightly weird in some ways, because
Mm,
it's not like you didn't feel blessed,
mm,
but upon reflection,
mm,
you 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 understand the shower of blessings.
mm,
You
mm,
know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you've been created as a faulty piece,
mm,
which tries to go in the wrong direction, and then somebody sort of says, "Oh no, no, actually, you know what? I'll fix you
mm,
and
mm,
put you in the right direction." And
mm,
it's kind of weird,
mm,
um,
mm,
you know, and and it's a journey. It's a journey. I mean, I think I've been in the search, but I don't think I've reached the end. But I think I'm in a better place, if that makes sense.
sure, sure.
Um, some people say, okay, I've now realized this and I've realized that. I don't think so. I've got to that stage, but I think I'm in a better space than I was, say, 5 years ago.
Sure. Yeah,
Better, certainly from 15, 20 years ago.
sure,
So, it's that's the sense.
sure. And do you remember any moments that kind of defined you? Or so you made some choices. You kind of is there anything stark? If you like, if I if I say just pull yourself out of your every day and just look at yourself, were there some moments that you felt, oops, this was a place where I really made a
I think there are all sorts of
mm,
really stark points, right? But let's take one or two, right?
yeah, sure, sure.
So let's look at my getting into IIT, right?
Mm, mm,
Now, for the life of me, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer,
mm,
right? And when I got my IIT sort of rank, I couldn't get mechanical
mm,
in IIT Delhi, but
mm,
I could get mechanical, say in BHU or some of the other
mm,
IITs. So I was very well prepared to go to IIT BHU and do
mm,
something, or go to Delhi College of Engineering.
mm, mm,
And then at that point, I spoke to somebody and they said, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter what you do from an IIT, but that education would be
mm,
valuable. And I met some professors and stuff. And then I made the decision to join textile engineering
mm,
because the professor in IIT explained that there is a mechanical stream to textile
mm,
engineering. So I
mm.
thought, okay, yeah, that's it. And I want to design machines and da 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 da. You have this worldview of
Sure.
design machines and that. Believe me, I finished my engineering and I have not done one day of machine design.
Mm,
Okay? And
mm,
I haven't missed it.
mm, mm, mm,
So will I say that that was a defining moment? It was a brilliantly defining moment because some of my strongest bonds
mm.
and friends are from my school and
Sure.
my university.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest minds I met were during my university days,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And brilliant minds, not
mm,
minds that would sort of think I am understanding, and they
mm,
would talk to me like I was a peer, but
mm,
I knew I had not even a minuscule.
mm,
I didn't even have the first scratch
mm,
of understanding what they were talking about, let alone contribute to it.
mm,
So
mm,
the only thing I could do was lend my ear
mm,
and just echo to
mm,
let them sort of
mm,
finish their conversation. But meeting great minds like that, and I don't know if I would have met them somewhere else.
mm,
Okay, and they're strong bonds now. Okay,
mm,
so that's one sort of simple thing.
mm, mm,
Um, I also got into FMS and I didn't take that,
mm,
despite the fact that I had that. And
mm,
because I said, I've done engineering
mm,
and I have no clue what I'm going to do because I didn't get a job in
mm,
machine design. I applied. I applied to everybody.
mm,
It was not like I didn't apply
mm,
after my engineering. But then I realized that if I now do an MBA, I will go do something like operations research or something stupid
mm,
like, or something like
mm,
that and build on my engineering.
mm,
And is that right? So I didn't do it.
mm,
I went down a different path. And that journey sort of led me to opening up a business with a couple of partners,
mm.
and we set up a startup in London.
Many, many, many years ago, when the word startup wasn't even there.
Yeah, so this is 93,
I know.
93 when we
Yeah.
started. Right?
Yeah.
And so initially I managed a team in India, then I moved to the UK, and
Mm,
we built the business. We built it to a good revenue. So from zero, we built it to a revenue.
mm,
We then got VC funding in.
mm,
But the point is all that journey, and then suddenly the whole, because we were in the energy sector, so we were in energy trading risk management.
mm,
The energy sector came under a lot of pressure around 2001, 2002.
mm,
Okay. And by 2003, we had to wind up our business. Okay.
mm,
But by then I was fed up because I'd been sort of doing this for 3 years, this 10 years.
mm,
We built up this business and it was all about, equity and all about
mm,
divesting it or selling it to another buyer and making our money and the valuations were looking good. The VC funding had come in at 20 plus million. We were sort of sailing on, money in the bank type
I
conversations.
remember I came
Yeah.
and visited you then, and we
Yeah.
had a great time traveling everywhere in your beautiful Saab.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
and
know.
then suddenly we had to shut the business and I came out with liability.
Mm,
Okay. But the funny thing was the day I the day I handed over the keys to the liquidators,
mm,
I remember feeling relief.
mm, mm,
Although I had no clue what's going to happen next.
mm,
But it was a get like, okay, this phase is done.
mm,
Then having spent 10 years in energy, nobody would hire me in energy. I had all the contacts in energy, nobody would hire me. So from energy, I went back to consulting on outsourcing.
mm,
And then I spent 2 years and then I came back to banking and risk and stuff. But the point I'm trying to get at is that was a real defining moment that, everything went
mm,
from what looked like a, you know, at a very young age, very successful, da da da, big money in the bank, and everything would happen or was happening to
mm,
zero or in fact negative,
mm.
and then feeling relief when it was negative, and thinking, what's happening here, and then sort
Yeah.
of rebuilding your life.
Stop here. Why? What do you think was the relief? Why the relief? What?
Because when you're running a business,
Mm,
you know, your every day is about cash flow.
mm,
In a startup structure, it's all about cash flow. It's
mm.
not about P&L. Look, people talk about P&L,
I know.
balance sheet, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's all about cash flow. And we used to be sitting with three months cash flow, and that was it. Our horizon was, how are we going to survive the next 3 months? And
Mm,
we had a team in India, which was about 100 strong,
mm,
and we had a team in the UK which was about 45 strong.
mm, mm.
So we had fair amount of payroll to meet
Yeah,
every
yeah.
month.
That is a fair amount. Yes.
And we were making revenues. We had maintenance revenues. We had licensing revenues.
Mm,
We had
mm,
support. So we had revenues. It wasn't, but that pressure of actually managing all these people and their payroll and doing that in addition to the work that you had to do anyways, which was, talk to your clients and make sure business is coming,
mm,
win new business, and grow the
mm,
the the business in general. It was, when it kind of, when you stopped, it was a bit like, oh, you were kind of a hamster on a wheel going nowhere,
mm, mm,
just from one step to the next. So
mm,
so in that sense, there was a relief.
mm,
And now some people would say, you wasted 10 years. You could have been in the corporate world. You could have done
mm,
this.
mm,
Not for 1 minute
mm.
would I have had that sort of experience of taking something, hiring people. We had to fire people.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. We had to go through the whole cycle.
Sure,
Um, and
sure.
some of it is comfortable, some of it is not comfortable. But the fact is, you know, the fact that you've done it and come on the other side,
Mm.
now that is a defining moment for me. Because at
Absolutely.
that point, I sort of made
Priceless,
a
RSA.
decision. Hmm?
Sorry, priceless. The experience of
Yeah.
that.
And it's not even so. Would I, if you ask me, would I change something? Nothing,
Yeah.
because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be who I am today,
Mm, mm,
right? And at the crossroads, I made decisions. It's not like I was doing the business and never thought of exiting.
mm,
97, 98, I had somebody actually say, join me, come and join a bank. In
mm,
fact, my manager, I was doing a piece of work for Nomura,
mm,
and he said, why don't you come and join me?
mm,
And I said, I was pretty frustrated at that point. This was one day I was really frustrated, and actually it was not even 97. If I
mm,
remember correctly, it was probably 96.
mm, mm.
And I said, okay, let me think about it, and I'll come back to you tomorrow morning. And then the next morning, I said, no, don't do that. So, but it's what I'm trying to get at is everything that happens to you is because of all the decisions and choices you've made,
Correct.
right? And then everything that happens makes you make certain other choices.
Mm, mm,
But it's that journey that I
mm,
think is all that you have.
mm, mm.
And now there's a little bit more to it, but we'll get to that. I mean, that's
No, we should get to it now because we only have this time right now. So
um,
let's get to it.
so my thing is, at that time there's a lot of suffering attached to
Mm,
things when they happen and
mm,
da da da. And even now, it's not like suffering doesn't happen. If big events happen, it takes me a week, 2 weeks to sort of absorb the entire impact. I have to sort of mull it over, think it through and stuff.
mm,
But the point I'm trying to get to is actually my thinking today is none of it matters.
mm,
What matters is, are you making the most of what you're doing?
mm,
The fact that you win, you lose
mm,
is absolute and utter nonsense.
mm,
And the point at which I realized this was, there's a story where where there is this trader, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives him a, a needle and says, "Look, just keep it with yourself."
mm,
Right? And this trader sort of follows Guru Nanak and sort of says, "I've got this needle, can I give it back to you?" And he says, "No, keep it." uh, so it happens every 2 or 3 months as Guru Nanak passes his house or something, and then the guy, finally the penny drops that you can't even take a needle away from this world,
mm,
right?
mm.
And so we kind of go through this whole accumulation cycle. That whole business I was doing was an accumulation cycle.
Mhm, mhm.
Right? It's important that you do that accumulation to enjoy the life.
Yeah.
You're never going to take anything away.
Mm,
Okay? Not even your experience, not even the feeling is going to
mm,
go with you,
mm,
right?
mm.
And that penny has only dropped now. This is not like a penny dropped 20 years ago. I wish it had, but it didn't. It dropped
Yeah, it
maybe
only drops when the time is right, no?
again.
It only drops when the time is right, when you're
I
ready.
just hope that the time is still right.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
So
Go
it's
ahead.
that.
What else? Mm, mm,
So then I'm just, so that is quite an important sort of thing to recognize. So
mm,
I've been doing these courses where somebody told you, life is empty and meaningless, and there was another place you kind of realize, oh, this is, but they are hollow. In that moment, it wasn't for me. They were hollow because
mm,
I understood life is empty and meaningless. Great, you define what you want to do, but it wasn't experiential.
mm,
um, and to me, that the journey is all about that experiential realization of what matters to you.
mm. And there is a certain vibrancy that you can create in this, right? And only you can create in this. It
Correct.
is this. Otherwise, it's yes. And I hear what you're saying. Yes.
It's I think I recently heard something from Alan Watts which sort of resonates. There is nothing to do, but that doesn't mean you do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I There is no importance of what you do, but doing is important because you're a karmic being.
Yeah. 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 It's an you have to fulfill the obligation to life. And I don't call it obligation in the sense of being obliged, but just जन्मे हो तो कुछ करना है. You have to walk. You have to walk. Yeah.
Exactly, I agree. But I think the obligation is to the self.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that obligation is to yourself, is what makes you happy and complete.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you're right. You are life.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, yes. So, but yeah. Exactly. Oh, it's too
I'm just
simple.
clarifying it from my standpoint, but
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It is an obligation to life, but that life is you.
Yes.
That
Absolutely.
life is not anything else. It's not, you know, a lot of us, at least when we are born in India, and this whole family, and you've got to be part of the family. You've got to respect elders, and we take it like, oh, big burden on our shoulders. It's, you've got to do what is right
Mm,
and what you feel is right. What is dharma for you, not dharma in scriptures or law or books.
mm, mm.
Sorry.
Wonderful.
I
That's beautiful.
carry
Beautiful.
on this.
Yeah, no, no, I'm with you on this totally, RSA, and I'm really happy to hear you talking about this and saying this because a lot of people are at crossroads right now, and for us to reflect together on while living life, I think these are, as I said, statements that people, we don't know who needs to or wants to hear this right now or wants to get into this conversation at this point in time. So I feel it's really, really important because it's the human experience. Um, is there a metaphor for life that you have, or many metaphors maybe, but something when the chips are down, would ek nikal ke aati hai awaaz, which tells you, yeah, this is the way you live life. You fall back on something. Is there something?
Metaphor. I think so. I'm going to say something, but I just want to clarify before I say. So there's no I mean, there are probably lots of metaphors I kind of work with, but to me, one thing is that people have walked this earth before, and some of them are gurus, and some of them are lives that people have lived. So I don't want to deify anybody. I don't want to put them on a pedestal. So if I say, for example, if I say Guru Nanak Dev Ji, or if I say Guru Gobind Singh Ji, or if I say Sainath, or if I say Warren Buffett,
Mm,
it is not with a view of saying they are superpowers or superhumans or anything else, but it is taking a life example and sort of applying to yourself. Okay. And one thing that sort of I get to is how grateful I should be, and I am, once I reflect, how grateful I get for what I would say riches we've been given.
mm,
We've been given with so many blessings.
mm,
You know, we've been given a mind to think.
mm,
We've been given our hands to work. We've been given our tongue to taste,
mm,
hear, smell. Now, we take that as a given, but actually, not everybody has the same smell, doesn't
mm,
have the same
mm,
thinking ability. So there are lots of life on this planet,
mm,
but not all have been given these faculties,
mm, mm.
right? So there's blessing just the
Indeed.
fact that all our faculties work.
Mm,
Just the
mm,
fact that all fact there's blessing in the family we were born in, right? So because
mm,
I was blessed because I got an education,
mm,
right?
mm,
Now, I may not have been given a blank check with 300 million in my bank, but
mm,
I was given an education. I had my body, I had been given a mind, and I've been blessed with a mind. Now, the worst thing is I call them riches only because I have done nothing to deserve them. It's just
yes.
serendipity, or it's just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are blessings, these are riches. Okay, these are riches for us. Okay? And so,
Yeah.
so to me, that recognizing that. So there are so many stories that you hear of Rumi or
Mm,
Bulleh Shah, or where people have sort of seen somebody on the street who's less endowed than them,
mm,
and realize what a blessing they are, that they're able to at least walk,
mm,
even if they don't have slippers, because somebody else is there without any legs and he's
mm,
still going
mm.
to Mecca. you know so for me, these are life examples.
Sure.
These are so the metaphor for me is just recognize
Mm,
what you have and what you've been blessed with.
mm,
Yeah. And make the most of it. If you
mm,
have, अगर चार आने हैं, then चार आने में ऐश करो.
mm, mm,
अगर आठ आने हैं तो आठ आने में करो. अगर 10 मिलियन है तो 10 मिलियन में करो.
mm,
It doesn't matter. But ऐश जरूर करो.
mm, mm,
Don't forget to enjoy
mm,
what you have.
mm, mm,
You know, Uh, just as an example, when I shut my business, we had no money
mm,
because we had debt on our head.
mm,
So we used to go to McDonald's and have a coffee and
mm,
donut.
mm,
And I kid you not, that was as enjoyable as any crosstown donut I have today, or any box of Krispy Kremes I have today, or if I walk into any patisserie or go to,
mm,
and today you can walk into Selfridges or Harrods or any place and get beautiful. I mean,
mm,
in fact, when you come, or to Lengi is one I really love. But the point I'm trying to get at is the joy is there, right there. A coffee and donut in McDonald's is as joyful
mm.
as a coffee donut in Starbucks.
Mm. So then this then it brings us nicely to the space of, so the joy is actually within, and how it expresses is outside is madhyam hote, the mediums, right? I mean, it could be a croissant, and it could be at McDonald's, or it could be at the most sophisticated place that you could. But the joy is within, and I think tapping that and being with that, opening that up, I think that's a huge win. no, in life. Win, and I hope you understand the way I say win. I think it's just about,
It is a huge win.
it is a
It is
huge.
the only thing that's important is to recognize that every moment there is something for you to be absolutely thankful for.
Mm, mm,
It's just finding that.
mm,
It's just looking for that and not for the flaws, because you know what? Actually, even the flaws don't exist.
mm, mm,
The flaws are our conditioning
mm,
that makes us look for stuff,
mm,
because we have this conditioning of perfection
mm,
or of a certain state.
mm, mm, mm,
Like my kids, when I take them to, if a bee comes up to them, they are completely traumatized, because there are not that many bees around here.
mm.
But actually, it's a blessing that you have bees.
Yeah, it's a big
You
one of the biggest blessings. Life would not exist. Yeah,
So, but they are not at the stage, because at this stage it's an irritant in their
of
life.
course, of course.
But what I'm saying is, so there's nothing wrong with what's so.
Mm,
It's how we are perceiving it, and actually, and it's back to that. It's recognizing and being thankful for that moment, what it's giving you.
mm,
If you can do that more continuously, I,
mm.
that's my journey.
So
That's
is
my
that your
journey.
journey? Yeah. So is that something that you consciously try to? Yeah.
That is my journey.
Mm, mm, mm. That's very beautiful, very powerful. Um, some of the gifts that you have received that have shaped you, some of the key influences, RSA, in your life, what are they?
I think education is one.
Yeah.
Okay, and to an extent, it's a gift, and to an extent, I think it's a it's also a lodestone around your neck, because
Mm,
what it does is it conditions you. Okay,
mm, mm,
but I think what you have to what you have to appreciate is there are what our standard education gives us is tools. Okay,
mm,
it's not an education.
mm,
But what we read and what we discuss and the friends that we make, the
mm,
sangat,
mm,
right? That is your true learning.
mm,
Okay. So people who appreciate you for who you are,
mm,
people who contribute to your thought process and make you look beyond your immediate,
mm,
you know. So if
mm,
you're an engineer and somebody sort of makes you read philosophy and sort of discusses philosophy, takes you into uncharted territory. Brilliant.
mm,
You know.
mm,
So that's a blessing.
mm,
That's an education.
mm, mm,
Where somebody's sort of reading for vocation, great. But where some, like by vocation I mean is if you're reading, if I'm an engineer, I'm reading for engineering. If I'm a financial analyst, I'm reading for financial analysis.
mm,
It's fine.
mm,
You're getting your tools, but you're not expanding your mind,
mm,
right?
mm,
But if you're sort of going to say, okay, fine, I'm going to now bring string theory and see how that would apply to financial world. Okay, a little bit of an expansion, but it's an adjacency.
mm,
But to think about life, to think
mm,
about people, to think about sociology, to think
mm,
about psychology,
mm,
and bring that into your reading and
mm,
into your experience, that's
mm,
expanding, because you haven't been exposed to that, but you're now exposing yourself to that aspect.
mm,
Living a 360-degree life in a very
mm,
simple sort of manner.
mhm, mhm. And I guess what I'm hearing you say is also what I'm picking up from beyond that. I'll play it to you is that it's the simpleness and simplicity, and I don't mean simplistic of life, where you get your things that really matter, and how they kind of combine, and being able to see that, having the eyes to see. I think those are things that are huge blessings. Would you agree?
Yeah, 110%. That is the only blessing one should be trying to achieve,
Mm,
is the ability to see how blessed you are, how
mm,
thankful you need to be.
mm,
That's the
mm,
only thing, I think, as a journey. That's the only thing. I think, work is important. Do the right thing. Do the stuff that makes you happy.
mm,
That makes you feel fulfilled. Now, if you want to build buildings, go build buildings. If you
mm,
want to sing songs, go sing songs.
mm,
And don't worry if you're not great at it. but if you keep at it, you will become great at it.
mm,
That's my firm belief. It's
mm,
that 10,000 hours theory. I believe in that. You
mm,
do something with your heart, soul, and mind completely dedicated, you will excel.
mm,
But do it completely. Don't come and fritter with it. Don't flirt with it, right? And
mm,
don't flirt with yourself. Don't do this change for the sake of change. Don't do the I love singing, but I'll just go for one or two classes and then I'll drop it, because that will not give you that joy. Find what will sort of give you that joy and then do it.
mm,
Everything else will follow. Everything else will just, it's almost like the universe will sort of pick you up and sort of keep pushing you around and sort
mm,
of take you to the right place.
mm, mm,
Trust it. Just
mm,
trust it.
mm,
But put your heart and soul into it.
mm, mm. Absolutely. And is that something that you would like to, uh, what? So let me put it another way. What is the kind of thing that you'd like to say to a younger RSA? 30,
A
30
younger
years,
person.
30
Oh,
years
yes.
before.
I think I was quite opinionated.
Mm,
I was quite a prude.
mm,
I didn't enjoy, I had this whole sense of responsibility on my head because I lost my dad and stuff quite early in my life.
mm,
In fact, he was quite ill since I was, I think, 13 or something like that.
mm,
So that sort of, so I had this whole sense of responsibility and bullshit of that stuff. Um, it's that I stop carrying the world on your shoulders. It's
mm,
just crap. Just do what you think is right, but be honest with yourself.
mm,
A lot of the things we do, we're not doing it honestly.
mm,
And that's why there's a conflict even within ourselves. We're doing it, but we don't believe it. Like,
mm,
people will go drink a bottle of wine or a bottle of whiskey and they'll say, oh, I really enjoyed myself. And next day they're having a hangover and then saying, oh shit, I shouldn't have had so much.
mm,
So there's a very small conflict in you.
mm,
Don't create conflicts.
mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm. So
don't
is that something that you tell yourself? Say,
yeah,
walk
don't
forward
create
with,
conflict.
don't create conflicts.
No duvida. No, and that's the thing. The dwelling, if you're dwelling on something
Mm,
that you could have done it differently or you should have done it differently, then there's a conflict.
mm,
In my point, that's the point at which you've created that conflict.
absolutely.
And then you've resolved the conflict, right?
Mm,
But make sure when you've resolved it, you now understand what caused it and you wouldn't do it again.
mm,
That's it. Just keep yourself conscious to that.
mm. Brilliant. Okay, so I do believe that every human being has something very special to offer as a gift to everybody, to humanity as such. What's the gift you have? What do you bring, RSA?
I, I, it's what do I bring? So I think if I look at my life and what do I bring, I think I bring trust. To me, that's something that I have operated with
Mm,
because I find it a shortcut
mm,
to a lot of things. Like if I can create trust and work with trust,
mm,
um, it bypasses a lot of energy in terms of explanations and
mm,
stuff. So that's one piece. And I think the second piece is letting go. So don't assume that your trust will always be reciprocated in the form that you have sort of placed it. So sometimes,
mm,
say 60% of the time, it will be reciprocated.
mm,
40% of the time, it won't be. You'll stay at 20%. You're actually 20% better off,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
So long as that equation is stacking up, well, keep improving that equation, but don't give it up. Otherwise, you'll spend a lot of energy in distrust.
mm,
Okay. So trust is one. And I think that also means trusting your own instinct, your
mm,
gut instinct.
mm,
You
mm,
know, if your gut is telling you don't trust,
mm, mm,
walk away.
mm, 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 mm,
And it's that. So to me, that's quite an important piece. And then the other thing is mentoring and coaching. I think to me that comes naturally,
mm,
or at least
mm,
that's my
mm,
my sense of it. And I think that's quite important. Is if somebody needs your help,
mm,
And it doesn't have to be monetary help.
Mm,
It could be
mhm,
just, it could just be you sitting with them and having a cup of coffee, or it could be listening to them, or it could be, giving them advice if they've asked you for something, or if they've, be truthful in
mm,
that. Just be truthful. If
mm,
if I benefited, for example, if if I was Warren Buffett and I knew how to invest, and somebody came to me and said, how should I invest? Give them everything that you can give them,
mm,
and do it as honestly as possible.
mm,
Now, people will take away different things from it. Some people make millions out of it, and somebody may not.
mm,
But that's not your cross to bear. That's not your burden in life.
mm, mm,
Your entire thing is be absolutely truthful
mm,
to reaching out and giving what you can give,
mm,
and comfortably, not uncomfortably, not, oh, I gave him 10,000 and then for the next 20 years you're regretting why you gave them 10,000. Don't. If you've
mm,
given them 10,000, it's done, dusted. It was what was needed at the time.
mm,
Move on.
mm.
Don't dwell on it, but do it truthfully and honestly.
Yeah, great. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close out this conversation? And it's been wonderful, wonderful. There's some very powerful things you've said, RSA, and a great conversation. But was there anything else you think?
Shiva, one thing I will say, and I'll say this very honestly to you, is I was a bit surprised when you wanted to sort of have this soul brew with me. And then I kind of watched a few of your videos. I want to sort of just take this moment to acknowledge you for what I would call celebrating an ordinary life. Your interviews are taking what I would say the unsung heroes, and they're unsung heroes in the sense that they may be in their own microcosm, they may be well known,
Mm, mm,
they're not the celebrities.
mm,
A lot of people interview celebrities and sort of put them on, and then you'll get the I think what you have done with this is what, to me, is very meaningful, is recognizing that an ordinary life well lived is as celebrity worthy as a celebrity life,
mm,
the way they've lived it, right? And you know this because I have always harped about the ordinary life.
mm, mm, mm,
And I personally think this, and it's an effort. I'm not even trying to sort of,
mm,
it takes effort, it takes energy, it takes focus. You go set it up, but you are celebrating people,
mm,
and you're celebrating life, and you're saying, look, there's a story here. I'm going to find it. People may not know you. People may not know that you have a story, but I'm going to find that story.
mm.
So to me, that's the one piece I do want to do, is acknowledge what you're doing here.
Thank you so much, Aris. And it's true. That was the motivation of starting SoulBrews, is to talk to ordinary. All of us are ordinary, right? And I have ordinary people chats with them because lives are extraordinary,
Yeah,
and those are to be
they're
celebrated.
extraordinary.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And there's something that I find that is that really inspires me, because I feel that ordinary people do this, which is this thing that is गिरते हैं शहसवार ही मैदान जंग में, वो तुफ्र क्या गिरेगा जो घुटनों के बल चले. और ऐसे कितने लोग हैं. There are so many people who are, as you said, unsung, but they are riding out there and they are living their lives, and what brilliant, beautiful lives. And we have to stop and celebrate. So
So I think that's what I want to acknowledge. There are so many shares that are coming into my head right now. I'll take it
see,
off.
you can take a couple. Take a couple. How can it be that our conversation doesn't have a share coming from?
सब कहाँ कुछ लालाओ गुल में नुमाया हो गई, खाक में क्या सूरतें होंगी जो पिन्हा हो
पिन्हा
गई.
हो गई. क्या बात है.
And that's it. Those surtain that have pinha, pinha mean,
I know.
so those that have been lost
Yeah.
over time, you're bringing that out.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Well, thank
I
you so much. Thank you so much. I want to turn the focus back onto you. Is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself and your journey before we close out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me now is recognizing I have a finite number of years on this planet. Okay. And the piece that I want to attach to that is that there is no continuity. I don't believe that there is this
Mm,
soul that will be reborn as me. My soul might go and become an ant tomorrow. Who
mm,
knows? Or
mm,
this energy will take a shape of an ant, or it may take a shape of an elephant or something. I don't know. Who knows? And to me, that is becoming very precious. I just think, and this is another one which one realizes late, but if you listen to Steve Jobs, he said the best invention, the biggest invention, or one of the best inventions is death, because it allows the next generation to come through. And I think understanding that your time is finite,
mm,
right, and then living with it, that in the present,
mm.
when you make your choices, is this crucial for me, is this right for me, is this what I want to spend my last few whatever hours or days or years. I think, to me, that's what I want to sort of get to a point that I'm completely cognizant and aligned to that.
And more power to you as you keep working towards finding that RSA. And I'm sure with the intent and the sincerity with which you move towards that, it will keep flowering and it will keep opening your path ahead for you. And I wish with all my heart that that continues to happen for you. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to have you here on Soul Brews with Sheba. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.
Thanks, Chiefs. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.